Kia ora, salam, namaste, and sat sri akal. I'm your host Ajay Vasisht with Weekender on Sunday. Today, our guest is going to be the newly minted Deputy Leader of the National Party, the Honourable Nikki Kaye. She's no stranger to fame, controversy, and also known for being a very hard worker and a bit of a survivor. Before we go to her, just in little bits of news for this week, it's been a bit of a tough return to reality from the COVID-19 front, or on the COVID-19 front. New Zealand has had more cases in this coming week, or in the week just come, starting with 2 arrivals from the UK, and then the total number of fresh cases is at about 7 now. Will it go up further? That's something we could address with her as well. Will there be any tightening of border controls, and will we be checking a bit deeper? We should be, definitely. और भारत से अहम समाचार में आज इंटरनेशनल योगा डे है, विश्व भर में मनाया जा रहा है. इनफैक्ट ऑकलैंड में आज महात्मा गांधी सेंटर, ओनियांगा में साई टेम्पल और वाइटाकरे में भी मनाया गया. वेलिंगटन में हाई कमीशन ने भी सेलिब्रेट किया. उसके अलावा पार्लियामेंट में भी आर्ट ऑफ लिविंग के सौजन्य से सेलिब्रेशन और इवेंट्स को ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया था. उसके अलावा कोई ज़्यादा बात करने से पहले आज के गेस्ट से शुरुआत करते हैं. और just to give you a quick background, Nicola Laura Kaye, MP, she is a New Zealand politician who has served as a deputy leader of the New Zealand National Party and deputy leader of the opposition since 22nd of May 2020. Very, very recent. She's a member of the New Zealand Parliament from the Auckland Central electorate, where she has fought many a battle with Jacinda Ardern. So, without further ado, Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How's your Sunday going so far?
It's been very busy. I had a public meeting this morning at the Stanford Plaza.
Right.
So, yeah, I've been busy today.
Yes, there's a lot more cases, and you've got to kind of quarantine them. And I guess people are not happy about being in the same premises, and how many rooms are going to be given over, and the other guests may not be feeling very comfortable. How's that panning out?
Well, I think what people expect is that obviously 5 million New Zealanders have worked really hard to get to this point, that we have safe borders and that we have good testing and that people are consulted if they do have things happening in their building. So these are not unreasonable requests, and what's happened with the Stanford Plaza is residents weren't aware of what was going on, and now we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
Right. And do you think it should be easy? How many people are being put into that hotel at this point?
Well, at the moment, none. So
right.
What played out yesterday was this message that went out from the body corporate to say that there would be a whole lot of managed isolation people in the building.
Right.
Then by the afternoon, they said that wouldn't happen. And so people are trying to work out what's going on.
Right. So, my God, this is always going to be a bit of a challenge in this part of the world. We have managed.
It turns out that there's some busloads of people that have arrived in Rotorua who we think may have been destined for the Stanford Plaza. So
right.
It sort of seems a bit shambolic, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
So this was actually a question that I was going to bring up for you a bit later in our chat. But do you think we need to really clamp down harder at the border, or at least have more robust systems in terms of capturing the people or the people who may have the cases and making sure that they are not sort of, wandering off within that 14-day period?
Absolutely. I mean, National has said at the outset of this situation, the most important thing is test.
Yes.
Ensure you've got decent tracing processes, but then also it's the management of these quarantine or self-isolation or isolation facilities. We ask questions to the Epidemic Response Committee, and what we can see occurring is it's very clear that some people have not had access to testing. It's also very clear that the processes inside of some of these facilities have been left wanting.
Yes, I think it's a kind of a brand new place for the border control as well. It's something that they haven't had to do very much of.
Yeah.
And obviously it's going to be a difficult one for them as well. And there's so many moving parts to it, especially with so many more flights sort of bringing in passengers. So I think it might have to be looked into with a deeper degree of detail. And I think you're going to be working with the government right on that and keeping them on task.
Absolutely. I mean, our country has had inflicted on us billions and billions, actually tens of billions of damage as a result of COVID and the restrictions
Yes.
that we placed on New Zealanders. So the idea that we could then have leaky borders or leaky quarantine facilities
Hmm.
is unacceptable. So what we're saying is, even when we announced recently our international student policy, we actually said, look, we need a health check at the country of origin. We need a
Hmm.
test as soon as people come in. We need a
Hmm.
test before they come out. We need auditing by public health officials. So there will be a huge expectation of New Zealanders that we do a lot better, because we can't come out of the economic crisis that we're in without New Zealand doing better in this area.
I would definitely tend to agree with you. I think we've had a very hard-won battle, as it were, and we want to kind of maintain that advantage we had got from that hard work that all the New Zealanders put in. Um, we'll keep abreast of this, and we'll keep on top of it as we go forward. Just to go to one of your passion projects, possibly, because you've been, you've had the portfolio for education for a long time. Uh, Even in the midst of the cabinet reshuffle and the leadership change, which was a big deal, seems to us you're still doing the hard yards. In June, you accepted a petition from parents and children with dyslexia on some early reading instructions, and you want to put that through. Great idea. And I'm presuming it's a passion project for you as well.
Yes, I mean, I was the shortest serving Minister of Education, I think, in our nation's history before we left government. But I've been in the education portfolio. I put out a large education discussion document last year. And one of
Yes.
the biggest priorities I have said is for children with dyspraxia, autism, other complex needs, it'll be a huge priority of the next national government. So receiving
Hmm.
this petition from those parents who really are arguing that we are better at the science of learning, and that
Hmm.
reading instruction and structured literacy is a crucial way to support particularly children with additional learning needs, but also other young people to be able to read.
Hmm. So from that perspective, on your background and having been in education, even if for a short term, but you have enough experience with it, is this just addressing an issue for a small number of people, or is there benefits for the larger student community as well?
I think there's benefits for the larger student community. We know that New Zealand used to lead the world around
Hmm.
reading,
Hmm.
but we've dropped significantly. And what we believe is there's lots of different debates of how you can move up the rankings and do better in reading. But
Right.
certainly the idea of structured literacy, so phonemic awareness, it is
Hmm.
very important, and it sort of cuts to the heart of how some young people learn. So we think that we need to be much more innovative in the way that children learn, and particularly to be able to read and write.
It's a bit like building software for one thing and then getting users for it from in another sphere as well. So that good luck with that, and we wish you the best. It's a great idea. Um, on a personal note, back in September 2016, you had to take a little bit of a hiatus from your public life. You were diagnosed with breast cancer, and naturally, you got through it all. That's a tough thing to talk about, and perhaps an even tougher thing to go through. I bring this up because I know from my personal experience, as my mother went through that as well, and she got through it thanks to our awesome health system, and she was lucky, and she got 23 years out of it. Um, in your experience now, being back in the fray within the next few months, even almost within a year, how difficult was it for you?
Um, it was pretty horrific. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I say to people, I've met a lot of people who've been diagnosed with cancer, and the way that I would describe it is it felt like really being run over by a bus.
Right.
There were terrible, terrible moments of just real trauma. I thought that my life was going to end. But out
Mm-hmm.
of trauma, for many people, comes beauty. And I certainly have had a lot of beauty that has come from it. I don't worry about the things that I used to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I eat better, I sleep better. I think I'm more grateful for all of the
Mm-hmm.
different people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So while I would never ever wish being diagnosed on anyone, I
Mm-hmm.
do think that a lot of people I meet also get a lot of beauty out of what occurs in terms of trauma.
Yes, I think staring death in the face definitely gives one perspective, and also what's more important in our lives. Sometimes we are kind of dragged along by the by the currents of life, sometimes not knowing which way we are headed. It must give clarity.
That's a very good analogy. I think the way I describe it to a lot of young people that I meet, but also often my friends, is
Hmm.
I'll, a lot of people don't know or are not as grateful for the people
Hmm.
around them until they're in their 70s or their 80s.
Yes.
I'm every day I'm so grateful. I'm very, very grateful.
That's really nice of you to share that with us. I know it's a very personal thing, and you didn't have to. And thank you very much for doing that. So, as a woman, you probably have had to face not just this challenge, but you probably had to fight quite hard to create a space in this male-dominated world of politics. And I wanted to find out from you, um, as a party and as a deputy leader of a party, which is, at the moment number two, but definitely one of the two largest parties in the country. Is there a goal for yourselves for gender inclusion and also for equality in terms of diversity?
Of course. I mean, I think I've been involved in the party actually since I was almost a teenager, so 19,
Right,
and now
right,
I'm 40. And
right.
so the National Party has come a long way, and I'm
Yes.
very fortunate to have a good friendship with people like Jenny Shipley. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's what people like Jenny or Ruth Richardson or even Helen Clark went through. So the first thing is I put it in a bit of perspective. The journey
Mm-hmm.
that I have now is only possible because of those extraordinary women who have come before me. I
Sure.
think the reality is that people like John Key and Bill English, I was the youngest woman to make cabinet in our party, the National Party. So I've been very fortunate to have some strong men who
Mm-hmm.
have paved the way for me, and I'm very lucky about that. But I certainly think, one of the things that I'm proud of in terms of Todd is in his top four, there are three strong women. So we have Judith,
Right.
me, and I. And I think you would never have seen that in New Zealand politics,
Mm-hmm.
even 5 or 10 years ago. So the place is moving, but we still have a way to go, and I have a leadership role in ensuring that that occurs.
So I think, without this being a comparative analysis thing, I think Labour had put in some sort of a goal where they wanted to have 50-50 gender equality by the time they rolled into the next election, potentially sooner if they could. Is there something of that description going on in the National Party as well?
I think what matters is the way that it occurs. So
Right.
what we've always said is the National Party at its core believes in
Mm-hmm.
individual effort and people getting there on their own steam.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of reasons for that. The reality is the reason we haven't had, I think, the numbers of women in Parliament, but also certain ethnic diversity, is
Mm-hmm.
that we have needed to make change in our selection process. So
Right.
while we get a number of people turning up to become candidates, they're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily being in winnable seats.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of work's been done through our candidates college to ensure that we
Mm-hmm.
get and we are inclusive in bringing more people in. And I look now and I think we're getting a lot more candidates in winnable seats, and that's how we're
Right.
getting change. So I think
Right.
it is going to happen naturally,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's an important debate to be had.
So eventually, in a way, you're saying it is also about merit, and also being able to win the seats. So just from our perspective at the Indian Weekender, we will be the first to admit there are at least two Indian list MPs in the current National Party lineup. There's Kamaljeet Bakshi and Paramjit Parmar. So we do know that there is some representation. But how long do you think we will need to wait for the inclusion of, within inverted commas, non-Pakeha voices and faces in the front rows?
Yeah. I think, I think there's a couple of things. Firstly,
Yeah.
Kamal and Parmjit are both incredible members of parliament, and I just want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about both briefly. The
Mm-hmm.
first is, if I looked at all of the members of parliament, I'd say Kanwal is one of the hardest working that you will find.
Yes.
Parmjit has a very, very strong skill set in the science and technology area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only just a recent deputy leader. If I start announcing the over the top of the leader, the front bench of the future, But I do want to say that I think both Clonwell and Palmji have
Mm-hmm.
demonstrated they've got competency, they've got the work ethic, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that we've made some decisions quickly around our lineup,
Yes. Yes.
but they are certainly ones to watch. That's what I would say.
Right. So I know it's how long is a piece of string kind of question. So I didn't really expect that you would know a timeline. But I think given that the country is so diverse now, there is a
Yes.
need from the public at large in terms of going, I don't see myself up there. How can I see
Yeah.
and represent my views or my concerns? And sometimes I think it is good to have people from other cultures because they actually have they have a experience having grown up that way. It's they bring more to the table, but
So
that's fine.
I completely agree with you. I
Mm-hmm,
think this is where it's been a bit frustrating with the diversity debate, in that if you look
mm-hmm,
at national, we've got, in terms of different cultures, the first Korean-born member of parliament in terms of
mm-hmm,
Melissa Lee. You look at
mm-hmm,
Carmel, you look at Palmji, you
mm-hmm.
look at Agnes, you look at Alfred. Look at our group of members of parliament. But I think
Yes.
you raise a good point. There's two different ways to contribute. One is, I
Mm-hmm,
would argue that if you look at the depth of the national batting order, we would
mm-hmm.
argue there's huge depth across our
Right.
batting order, and we will campaign at this election on the strength of our team. So that
Yes.
while there might be people who are at number 23, we would
Yes.
argue the heavy lifting that they're doing compared to potentially some of the Labor lineup is significant. And then the second
Right.
question, which I think is absolutely reasonable to ask, is potentially even with that in that top 20,
Mm-hmm,
who is where and how are they contributing at a future cabinet level? And
mm-hmm,
I think that if we win the election, there will obviously be change. But
mm-hmm.
I would say that I think that both, in particular, Carmel and Palmji, are very much heavy lifters. They're very much ones to watch.
Fantastic. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. So, from that perspective of working hard to get to the end result of trying to win the election, so last time in 2017, Labour came into government when it almost seemed impossible. And I think by the same token, we can't write off the Nats either.
Yeah.
So, what's coming up in the Nats strategy for election 2020?
I think there's a few things. Firstly, we acknowledge we're coming from behind. But
Mm-hmm,
the first thing that is the most important is, if you look at history, always the public vote to come in and fix the economic situation where we find
mm-hmm,
ourselves in crisis. You look at the
mm-hmm,
global financial recession, look at other points in history. So
mm-hmm,
we're absolutely fighting for the case that while people might have wanted a Labor government in terms of change after 9 years of National, we are
mm-hmm.
facing the largest economic crisis. We
Yes.
have a depth of people, and we will have some of our economic policies. We've already announced some things and job
Mm-hmm,
start out there in the next couple of weeks. So people can see us with a very clear plan to
mm-hmm.
create jobs. What we know is that the public trust us more on
Yes.
economic issues. And so we will be fighting to be running the country because we think we have the depth of team and we have
Mm-hmm,
a strong jobs plan. The second thing is, we also believe that you can have a prime minister that people like, but if you don't have a long depth in your cabinet, then
yes.
whether it's Kiwi Build or light rail,
Mm-hmm,
people can put all the press releases out, but if you
yes.
can't deliver, which I think is what people are finding, whether it's quarantine or Kiwi Build, then you can't get what you need. So we'll also be demonstrating in
Mm-hmm,
transport and education and health why we think we can deliver
mm-hmm,
in infrastructure. And then the final thing that I'd say is, we do believe that while it's the largest economic crisis of a generation, and we believe that the National Party are
mm-hmm.
the only party to get us out of this, we have an obligation to build back better. And so New Zealand has had some long-standing social issues, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
law and order or whether that's educational achievement. And we're
Mm-hmm.
going to take this opportunity to invest in our people
Mm-hmm.
and to ensure that we fix some of those social issues.
What about, those are really good points, but what about your detractors who have insisted that the reason why Kiwi Build needed to be instigated was because there was such a lack of actually putting the housing in place over the last three governments when National was in power. So, you're delivering on one angle, but not taking care of a very important sector of the economy. So many people went out of their ability to actually be first home buyers. So will National now come up with a more egalitarian, inclusive plan, or are they only going to sit with big business?
So I think a couple of things. The first is,
Yeah.
if you look at the time, everybody gets handed a set of problems in history. We were
Mm-hmm.
handed a decade of deficits. So
Mm-hmm.
when we first walked into that caucus,
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand was due to have a decade of deficits. We pulled the country out of that recession. So the idea that you can compare a
You're
time
referring to the
when,
GFC, of course, the
yeah,
2008. Yes.
the idea that we can just forget all of that and
Mm-hmm.
compare a time when they've given a big wad of cash in terms of the Labour
Yes.
Party versus that
Yes.
time there. But certainly for the last few years, we have said very publicly we could have done more. The reality is, whether it's RMA reform, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's we insulated 100,000 houses. So the idea that we
Mm-hmm.
did nothing in terms of housing is not correct. We did that project with the Green Party. We
Mm-hmm.
also did upgrade a whole lot of state houses as well. But I
Mm-hmm.
think there is a real genuine issue around the cost of living and housing in Auckland and some other areas of New Zealand. We
Mm-hmm.
will be announcing some policies in this area, but it is fair for us to ask the question and say the government said there would be 100,000 houses built.
Mm-hmm.
We think there's only several hundred.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this mismatch of delivery, we certainly will be announcing a housing policy. I
Yes.
don't believe there'll be one single thing. I think we have to look at the cost of land. That's the
Mm-hmm.
single biggest thing that's occurred. We have to look at the RMA process because that's costing people. We have to look at the council and the way
Mm-hmm.
that they manage consents. We have to look at the
Yes.
way that we build houses. And then we
Yes.
have to look, we did actually increase the first home buyer subsidies.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll certainly be looking at that very carefully.
Okay, so we'll be keeping our ear to the ground in terms of what policies you do come forward with. But it seems to me, just on a personal note, that this kind of bipartisan, we have a different point of view to the other side. Sometimes, I think over the long history of democracy, it tends to have this thing of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I wonder if there was a better way to do it, where the populace gets all of its concerns addressed and the two parties don't have to duke it out with each other. But I guess that I'm just dreaming there. I don't even expect you to answer that. But you can if you want.
I'm happy to answer that because I consider myself a member of parliament who's worked collaboratively on a range of things.
Right.
And I think select committees are often where that happens. The public
Mm-hmm.
often only see the chamber and the house.
Sure.
Every week, there are select committees where legislation is worked on, inquiries
Mm-hmm.
occur. So the idea that we don't have some of that collaborative work, it certainly
Mm-hmm.
does occur.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are, whether it's climate change and the work that Todd, our leader, did with James Shaw,
Mm-hmm.
there are certainly moments in our political system where that does occur. I
Yeah.
certainly hope that in housing we can get greater cross-party agreement because we need to, because otherwise people will be priced out of their houses for a generation.
Mm-hmm. So, actually, that's a very interesting segue, bringing up Todd. We're in a very interesting time in terms of the leadership change and the fact that we are weeks away from the election. Do you feel like you're almost in a similar situation this time as Andrew Little and Jacinda Ardern were in 2017, but maybe just with a few extra weeks up your sleeve?
Well, I certainly think we've had very good feedback about
Mm-hmm.
him. If
Mm-hmm.
you look, the last week, his speech to the Parliament on the general debate
Mm-hmm.
that covered some of the COVID issues, it's been viewed
Mm-hmm.
by over 200,000 New Zealanders. So it's gone
Right.
very viral.
Mm-hmm.
I think our issue is a bit of a runway issue. We know that New Zealanders are very worried about the economy more than anything. They
Mm-hmm.
want a party that can create jobs. But that ability that we're in a race against time for them to get to know Todd and I
Mm-hmm.
is certainly at the forefront. And then I think we have to be very clear very quickly about the policies that we're campaigning on from an economic and a social perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're doing.
So, okay, so you don't think there might be a scenario where you are potentially, I'm almost looking at a script for a dramatic movie here, where you are promoted to the leader's position, and Todd can actually help you, and we have the duel between the two most interesting ladies in the land in terms of the politics.
No, not at all. I can tell you a couple of things. One is I really believe in him, and I believe that there are people at times of history that are very important to step forward. And at
Yes.
this time in history, I might have a skill set, but we need a person who's a business person.
Yes.
We've never needed that more than ever than the largest economic crisis. I think the
Yes.
second thing is he has a huge respect in a range of different circles, from agriculture
Yes.
to
Yes.
business. So that's never going to happen. I can promise you that will never happen. But that I will be fighting hard to make Todd Prime Minister. One day I'll be a hippie on Great Barrier, but my goal is that he'll be Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, the reason I brought it up is because the poll numbers are so similar right now. I think at the time of that swap around between Andrew Little and Jacinda Ardern, they were sitting at around 24, 25%. And I think the Nats are, as of the middle of late May, early June, you guys have been sitting around 26.5%. So it seems like if you can't get the charisma and the push necessary, will there be any harm in having a swaparoo?
Well, I think a couple of things. One is when we took over the leadership, I think the public polls were around 29. We will wait to see what the next public poll is, but I'm
Yes.
very hopeful that there will have been a bump. And
Yes.
the way I say to people is this is a very volatile environment. My view is you can never count us out because it is volatile with the economic situation. We've had 40,000 people that have lost their jobs. There are expected to be 80,000 in the next couple of months and 120,000 by Christmas.
Yes.
So we can see some shifts occurring. And this is why I think there'll be a very strong contest at this election.
I agree with you. And I still like the idea of the two ladies going head to head. And because you've actually defeated her twice, I think in the 2011 and 2013 election, you actually won the Central Auckland seat, and you were contesting against Jacinda, wasn't it?
That's right, but it was a very different race. She's obviously done quite a lot, I say, since then. So
Yes.
I think again, this point of in times of history, the public will ask for certain people to step up, and I think certainly Jacinda has been a global celebrity. There's been a number of people worldwide who have admired her. But in my view, at the time where you've got the largest economic crisis ever, people are going to look to the party that can create jobs, and I think that's the National Party.
That's the National Party position indeed. Thank you very much for sharing all that. And I'm sorry if I put you on spot with that one, but it definitely it's from a newspaper's perspective, the headlines would be just amazing. Last but not least, what's been the most interesting thing for you to have been able to get back to post the lockdown? What were you missing the most?
I was missing seeing my nieces and nephews. So they are very cute, and I love them dearly. But also,
how old are they? Are they quite young?
Yeah, they're quite young. But I was also very I was by myself for a lot of lockdown. So actually, I was missing seeing my friends as well. Even though the nature of the job that I'm in now, I very much am traveling the country. But I think it is a time to reflect and remember again those people that you love. And so it's really seeing my mates and seeing my family.
So you went from being the introvert during lockdown, and now you're back to being the extrovert and back in the thick of the things and the fray.
I had thousands of constituency cases. So the people that I talked to the most were my constituents, but now it's lovely to see friends and family.
All right. I was about to let you go, but there is just one last thing. I've just spotted a very interesting thing on your wall.
The No New Zealand?
The No New Zealand on the map. Let's put New Zealand on the map.
I have a separate shrine to New Zealand. New Zealand gets its own place on another wall.
We gotta love that one. So you're also behind that little campaign where you want to put New Zealand on the map, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Awesome. Honorable Nikki Kaye, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we look forward to the election fray over the next few weeks, and we are looking for some really interesting and inspiring things coming from the National Party as well as from you and Todd Muller. We look forward to being able to talk to you again. Have a lovely Sunday.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely Sunday. Thank you. Thanks.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Right, folks. So that was the Honorable Nikki Kaye, and looks like, I think they have a battle plan all drawn up. But I don't think they are not quite ready for the public manifesto to be released yet. And they will also be thinking very hard about how they adjust to whatever the poll changes will be coming in the next week or two. Hopefully there'll be another poll coming out, which will kind of spell out a bit better where the National Party sits now with the change in leadership. To our minds and eyes, the National Party has been, one of the most, to be reckoned with forces in New Zealand politics for decades and decades. But right now they're going through a bit of a slump, and the leadership change was supposed to give them a little bit of an injection in popularity and, give them a bit of a boost. And Todd Muller has been a little bit gaffe prone, probably because he's not used to the limelight, not used to the cameras. We don't know the real reason. And from that perspective, I think creating a connect with the public has been a bit harder for him. And Nikki, on the other hand, I think probably has been doing it for a lot longer, and she's able to handle that a little bit better. Paul Goldsmith being Maori, let's put that aside for a minute. Anybody can make a mistake. But the polls are going to be the telling point, which will let us know whether or not National really have a chance coming back from this rather strong COVID-19 response that the Labour Party has put forward. So the fray is wide open, and we look forward to being able to figure out which party will settle where. Will it be National romping back in on a strong economic message, or will it be Labour on the back of their miraculous and often world-lauded recovery and stopping of the COVID-19 situation in New Zealand? Now, before we move on, as is our want, and as is what we do usually, we want to thank our sponsors. And for that, I'd like to say thank you to Ankur Sharma from Business Launchpad. They're chartered accountants who give you tax and other advisory on financials. You can call them on 09 520 1515. That's 09 520 1515. Or you can visit them on their website, which is bizlaunchpad.co.nz. And I have a whole list in front of me that I would like to tell you in terms of the business services they provide. So they can help you with new business setups, business plans, annual and monthly accounting, get your cash flows done, get your forecasts and budgets done. They'll also give you tax advisory and compliance help, IRD tax debt resolutions. If you are, in a bit of hot water there, you can go to them to get some kind of resolution put in place. Property tax, zero and MYOB support and training, and of course, bookkeeping, among a host of other services. So one more time, Business Launchpad. Call them at 09 520 1515 or visit them at bizlaunchpad.co.nz. So that was the word from our sponsor. Now, before we go, normally I like to go out on a light matter, but this week, I guess, with the COVID cases coming back and the fact that we've also had an unfortunate death of a police officer, which really we needed to spend a bit more time on it, but we are unfortunately out of time right now. There was one other thing that I wanted to put forward, which was a little bit of news from India. And basically, you'd have to be living under a rock if you haven't really been keeping up with that little skirmish, well, a big skirmish in a way, that happened between China and India on the border. और इसके बारे में अगर हिंदी में बात करें तो थोड़ा सा अच्छा लगेगा, क्योंकि जो हालात हैं काफ़ी नाजुक हैं। पूर्वी लद्दाख में LAC के करीब स्थित गलवान घाटी क्षेत्र में अगर देखा जाए तो सामरिक दृष्टि से ये बहुत ही अहम जगह है, और इस इलाके में LAC पर कोई विवाद नहीं रहा है अभी तक। लेकिन चीन अब पूरी गलवान घाटी पर अपना दावा जमाना चाहते हैं, जता रहे हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने हमारे 20 जवानों को भी शहीद कर दिया। चीन को आशंका है कि इस इलाके में भारत की मजबूत स्थिति से उसकी मुश्किलें बढ़ सकती हैं। Particularly, they have this initiative called the Belt and Road Initiative, which India has not partaken in and basically took a leave of absence from, and they have not been supporting China in that. And this could be one of the bones of contention. गलवान सेक्टर के का जो एरिया है ये बहुत संवेदनशील है, क्योंकि LAC के नज़दीक DSDBO की रोड भी है जो वहाँ से जुड़ती है। तो it is a very sensitive place for our borders. और कल ही या इसी हफ्ते की अगर आप देखे जाए तो केंद्रीय मंत्री और पूर्व आर्मी चीफ जनरल वीके सिंह ने भारत और चीन के सैनिकों के बीच जो गलवान घाटी में हुई हिंसक झड़प हुई थी उसके बारे में एक खुलासा किया. उन्होंने कहा कि चीन ने ही भारत के सैनिक नहीं लौटाए बल्कि भारत ने भी चीन के सैनिक लौटाए हैं, यानी कि वी ऑल्सो हैड सम प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर हु वी हैव रिटर्न्ड. जनरल सिंह कहते हैं कि भाई मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स के अनुसार हम लोगों ने अपने व्यक्ति उनसे वापस लिए हैं, लेकिन ये नहीं है, हमने उनके व्यक्ति भी उन्हें वापस करे हैं, उनके जवान भी उनको वापस किए हैं, उन्हें छोड़ दिया गया है. सो अगर मोटा मोटा देखा जाए तो चीन ने ही भारत के सैनिक नहीं लौटाए. सो I think this seems to be a very interesting development where we are not really interested. The countries don't seem to be interested in keeping POWs at this point. They are more interested in, I think, a little bit of saber rattling, and there's politics and agendas being played out. इस झड़प में कहा जा रहा है कि चीन के दोगुने सैनिक मारे गए हैं और झगड़े की जड़ है पेट्रोल पॉइंट 14 जो अभी भी भारत के नियंत्रण में है, और गलवान घाटी का ये जो हिस्सा भारत के पास है वो आज भी हमारे पास ही है. सो फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव थिंग्स आर गुड. लेकिन इस मुद्दे पर लॉन्ग टर्म भारत को क्या करना होगा, क्या करना पड़ेगा? द पॉलिटिक्स इज ऑफ पावर, डोमिनेंस, एजेंडाज, ग्लोबल डोमिनेशन इवन. द चाइनीज वांट देयर बेल्ट एंड रोड इनिशिएटिव टू मूव फॉरवर्ड फास्टर and it does not or may not suit India. A while ago, India also cancelled attending the Belt and Road Initiative meet very much at the last minute. One day before, they pulled out. So rather than confront China, they might even be better off just letting it play out. China को बहुत सारे देशों के साथ इस Belt and Road Initiative पे एक तरह से consensus लेना पड़ेगा, उनकी मदद चाहिए होगी. पाकिस्तान को छोड़ के जिनका चीन के साथ अच्छा रिलेशनशिप है, बाकी सब कंट्रीज में जरूरी नहीं है कि चीन अपना झंडा गाड़ के बेल्ट एंड रोड इनिशिएटिव से आगे बढ़ता रहेगा, या उनके जो बहुत लॉन्ग टर्म प्लान्स हैं वो भी चलते रहेंगे. प्लस इंडिया नीड्स टू, इन माय व्यू, टेक अ लॉन्गर टर्म व्यू ऑफ आवर डिपेंडेंस ऑन चाइनीज इंपोर्ट्स. देयर आर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इन इंडिया इन ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ सेक्टर्स, इन ऑटोमोटिव, एनर्जी, petrochemical, mobile, telephony, energy. There are lots of investment in billions of dollars. We need to really look at that relationship. And this is anyways a need being voiced by many countries, including the USA and Australia. And Australia and USA are feeling the brunt of it because the Chinese are not just going to sit back down and take it easy. So only by not being dependent will we be able to sit at the negotiating table with some power in our hands and get our own way, or at least have our own voices heard. So, India, play the long game. That's what I think is the need of the hour. बाकी सब आज के प्रोग्राम में आपसे कुछ हंसी मजाक की बात नहीं हुई. It seemed like it became more of a serious show. कोई बात नहीं, कभी कभी सीरियस भी हो जाना चाहिए. आप सब अपना ख्याल रखें, जहां भी हैं सेफ रहें, स्वस्थ रहें. I am your host Ajay Vasisht with Weekend or on Sunday. I will see you next Sunday in what is for now अभी भी the safest country दुनिया भर में. Kia ora, salam, namaste, sat sri akal. Till next time.